beautiful cities ever. You know, my mum used to say it's like paradise. It was called the Garden City. And for the South Indians, it's very important as a city because every woman said that you can't get better flowers than in Bengaluru, also called Bangalore. But the point is that one of the most heart-wrenching incidents which captures the terrible traffic woes in Bengaluru, and even more terrible, that is in our own Garden City turned IT hub, is the death by drowning in an underpass of a 21-year-old girl called Bhanurekha, who was a techie. Look at those visuals, and I think that is something that none of us will ever get over. It was because of the rains, and she had come from Hyderabad along with her family to say, okay, let's go and check out Bangalore. I will show you Bengaluru. And this is what happened. She drowns in an underpass. Her family, of course, was in mourning. Young Bhanurekha was a very, very promising techie. But even as her family was mourning and actually bemoaning their fate, we saw politicians trooping in and out, making the usual noises.
ವಿಜಯವಾಡದವರು ಗಾಡಿನ ಬಾಡಿಗೆಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರ ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವಿಜಯವಾಡ, ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ಸೇರಿ 7 ಜನ ಇದ್ದರು. ಅವರು ಬ್ಯಾರಿಕೇಡ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು, ಅದು ಮಳೆ ಬಂದು ಬ್ಯಾರಿಕೇಡ್ ಬಿದ್ದೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಾರೆ. ಇವನು ಡ್ರೈವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅಂಡರ್ ಪಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗದೇ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂಡರ್ ಪಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ವರೆಗೂ ನೀರು ತುಂಬ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟದೆ ಕಾರ್ಗೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬಾಗಿಲುಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವಾಟರ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಗಿಲು ತೆಗಿಯೋಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಒಬ್ಬಳು ಭಾನು ರೇಖಾ ಅನ್ನೋಳು, ಅವಳು ನೀರು ಕುಡಿದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ಅವಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆ ತಗೊಬಂದಾಗ ಮೊದಲು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ECG ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸರಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬರುವಾಗ ಬಂದಾಗಲೇ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
You heard that? So it's almost like, you know, the driver of Bhanurekha was at fault. Then they will say the rains are at fault. Then they also said, don't go under the underpasses, you know, avoid all flyovers. So everything was said except trying to improve the situation in Bengaluru. Rains, of course, but why do rains get so vicious? It's because of bad traffic, bad roads in Bengaluru. Now, after repeated complaints by Bangaloreans about insurmountable traffic snarls in the city, there was a kind of relief when Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar took charge of the city and launched an online portal called Brand Bengaluru to gather public suggestions for the city's development. One only wishes that it happens in time, because apparently there was an overwhelming response. There is an overall kind of an intent to improve the situation in Bengaluru. So if wishes were horses, etc., etc. But the latest, so far as Bengaluru traffic is concerned, is a shocking revelation. A new study led by Professor M N Sreehari, who is an expert on traffic and transportation, has found that Bengaluru's traffic trouble cost the city nearly rupees 20,000 crores every year. You heard it right. Because of the traffic trouble, the city, and of course those who live in Bengaluru, it costs them 20,000 crores every year. Yes, when you face delays, congestion, stoppages at signals, all the other reasons because of bad traffic, you lose money. Of course, you also lose your shirt, you are irritated, but then all your irritation, all your anger, all your venting, all that costs money. The study has been presented to Karnataka's Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar, and Professor Sreehari's recommendation now include traffic management, road planning and flyover placement. I know what you are thinking, considering Bengaluru, we all have been there, we have done that. Bengaluru has so many flyovers, then what is all this talk about? It should be easy, no? Yes, you are right, it has around 60 flyovers, but then they are deemed, according to this report, to be too narrow. None of them have extra lanes for entering and exiting, and they are not constructed strategically to solve traffic issues at all. We also know that Bengaluru has expanded. The city's population has surged to 14.5 million with a corresponding vehicle population of approximately 1.5 crores. But then every city grows. That is no reason why people of Bengaluru should face loss of life and money. There has to be solutions, and this particular study, which is being led under the guidance of Professor Sreehari, may just be the beginning. Who knows? Never give up hope. We should keep up the hope to see someday, somewhere, we will all have some kind of a solution. So, let us debate. Joining us is Professor M N Sreehari, Advisor Government of Karnataka, Traffic, Transportation and Infrastructure. He is joining us on the phone line because he was engaged in something else earlier, but thank you so much to the professor that he agreed to join us at least on the phone line. We shall wait for him. Katyayani Chamaraj, Executive Trustee, Civic Karnataka is here. Good to see you, Katyayani. Sandeep Aniruddhan, of course, a regular whenever we speak about Bengaluru, and the woes convener of Citizens Agenda for Bengaluru, and Wasim Memon, who is founder of Drive Without Borders in Karnataka. Welcome to all of you to the South Indian. That's the name of the show, and yes, I know that most of you, I presume, are South Indian. So, it's a great coincidence, as it were. Now, has Professor Sreehari joined us? Okay. So, that is the report. I want some graphics to be put up, for ladies and gentlemen. You will see what is the vehicle population in Bengaluru. Bengaluru pays the highest road tax. All those information will come. When you are doing such a thing, then obviously you deserve, not just those who are driving the vehicles, but even pedestrians, they deserve a better deal. You don't have to lose 20,000 crores every year because of traffic snarls. Sandeep, does this come to you as a shocker? I mean, 20,000 crores, my God, when I read the report, I was like, I fell off the chair. To unmute Sandeep. I think there is an audio problem. Sandeep, just wait, we will just fix it. Katyayani, let me come to you and ask you that does this report shock you? Because 20,000 crores per year. You see, Katyayani, what happens is that I was talking to a few people in Bengaluru. They said, we get irritated, you have to take a U-turn for something which is just across the road, it takes me 45 minutes, etc., etc. But I think for the first time, Katyayani, for the first time, a report has put money to it, that the wastage, the stoppage, the delays, everything is costing us money. Are you shocked about it, or will you say, but Sudha, this was expected?
Well, this 20,000 crore that is being lost is not lost only by the private vehicle owners. Every common citizen who is traveling in a bus also, he is also losing time and money, So, and the majority are actually the bus users. More than 35 lakh people are using the bus. And also there are the other, pedestrians and
right.
so on. So, we are all suffering, and the car owners should not think that only they are suffering. And they have to realize that they are the cause of the problem. Okay, the more people got into buses, we wouldn't have this problem of congestion at all.
I wonder, Katyayani, I am stopping you here because that is a clarity. It's not about, let's say, cars or SUVs versus public transport, because the professor has very clearly also recommended that we should use more public transport, metro rail, for instance. So, I don't think that this is between them and us at all. But anyway, owning a car, maintaining a car, driving it on the streets of my city, if I pay all the taxes, is my right as well. So, I think somewhere, let me just come back to you, because I think the professor has joined us now. Professor Sreehari, namaskara, can you hear me, sir?
Good evening, madam. I can hear you, madam.
Yeah. So, this 20,000 crores, professor, it is shocking. Did it shock you when you were doing this study also?
Definitely, when myself and my team collected the information not for the cars alone, it is for the buses, two-wheelers, auto rickshaws, public vehicles, everything put together. the occupants, fuel loss, car in case fired its loss, and also occupants' loss based on their salary income. Every month income has been also calculated, and from that they calculated for the losses how much one has to lose it. This is called indirect cost, which is not going out of our pocket, but we can encash it later by various other means also in case saves the travel time. For example, for 44 kilometers from Vijayanagar to this white field, we take 3 to 4 hours means 44 kilometers. That shows the average speed comes to 8 to 10 kilometers. 8 to 10 kilometers is nothing but the walking speed of the pedestrian. So there is no reason why the walking speed is the same speed of the vehicles also in Bangalore. It is quite shocking to me when we go for annual economics this thing. So it is really shocked me and my team. It is so much so heavy. Then I thought there could be some mistakes here and there. But we went again and again. Lot of reiterations were made. And finally arrived, this is the correct.
Professor Sreehari, Professor sir, I want to ask you that you said these are cost. I mean, I think I am really interested in this. It's like anything else in life. You know, if someone gives you stress, you take that stress, it's going to cost you one day or the other, or maybe it won't cost you, but it does cost you. It's cost a lot of people I know who landed in hospitals and, you know, got procedures done, and of course money was gone, and also their, you know, self-confidence was gone, health is gone. So, hidden, as you say. Now, tell me, sir, is it also fuel cost? What all cost have you taken into consideration, sir? It is not just fuel cost only, right?
Correct. It's not a fuel cost. Fuel cost is one of the parameters. Vehicle, in case the vehicle is hired elsewhere.
Right.
The vehicle, when they are traveling, even though it can also make money if it is hired elsewhere. So much of annual statistics. And the occupant cost. For example, the first 45 people or persons are occupied. They are also experiencing same amount of delay. They are also losing that money going late or going early, whatever it could be, they are spending more time. That time also is accounted because of the delay. What is the delay actually? Delay is nothing but when we define the speed, urban speed limit as 40 km per hour with lot of signboards, no vehicle can exceed 40, I agree. But on the other hand, if the vehicle starts moving 8 to 10 km per hour due to congestion, road condition, signal delay, all these things put together.
All right.
All this converted.
Okay, please stay with us, Professor, because this is a very important study. Like I say, you know, any good beginning gives us hope. Let me now go to Sandeep. You know, do you think, is it shocking for you, 20,000 crores? And you know, look at this study, he says these are hidden costs. So, anyone who is travelling, let us say from, like he said, Jayanagar or Indiranagar to Whitefield or Kundanahalli, this is very important for you because it exactly tells you the kind of hidden cost that is involved when you are stopping there. Right now you are stopping there at that red light, this is what it's going to cost you. Sandeep Aniruddhan.
Hi Sudha again. Sudha, this figure doesn't shock me. In fact, I feel it is underestimated because these are just the superficial costs. The real cost will be the opportunity lost for the city. A lot of companies are migrating away from the city, or many businesses that wish to come to the city are looking at other options. Second, the congestion leads to a lot of other issues like more fuel consumption. Perhaps it's taken into account, but it will also lead to a lot of pollution, health. If you take the factor in the health costs and a lot of other costs, and the quality of life index in Bengaluru is dropping more and more because of the congestion related issues.
Right.
And these all accounted for, I'm sure it will run into lakhs of crores, not just 30,000 crores. Because last time when we had the floods for a couple of weeks, that alone costed us 30,000 crores. Right. So having 30,000 crores due to traffic throughout the year, I think is largely underestimated. But we are still not addressing the elephant in the room. What is the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is that all these are outcomes of bad planning.
Yes.
Or lack of planning.
Yeah. The professor talks about it. I'm going to, he says bad planning. He says we have to be prudent about it. I will go to the professor. But you know what, Sandeep? You've all the time spoken about the 74th Amendment in show after show after show. And I want you to repeat that once again. No, it's very important. It's about your right and my right, I say. I mean, please tell the viewers how 74th Amendment is bypassed even as planning is undertaken and under the so-called blessings of politician after politicians.
Yeah, precisely. I was actually going to come to that. Thanks for bringing it up. Now, see, the 74th Amendment in 1992 has clearly laid out the planning framework for a city and the governance framework. There is supposed to be a metropolitan planning committee which builds a master plan for the city, and that master plan should have a transport plan which is supposed to be built on studies based on data, origin, destination studies, and the land use pattern of the city. Now, even in the RMP 2031 exercise, which was done by the previous governments, which unfortunately was not taken up, there is a transport plan, and it talks about primarily mass transit. It talks about rapid mass transit.
Right.
Why is that very important? Now, I'll give you two examples and figures to show you why that is very important.
Okay.
Take the example of Singapore, which this government keeps talking about. Singapore is a very small city compared to Bengaluru. It's about 700 odd square kilometers. Our greater Bengaluru area is around 2000 square kilometers.
Okay.
Our population is 1.5 crores approximately. Singapore's population is about 55 lakhs. Now, the number of private vehicles we have on the road is around 1.2 crores. Almost everybody in Bengaluru has a private vehicle. Why?
Okay.
Because we don't have public transport.
Right.
Look at Singapore. Singapore has only about 10 lakh private vehicles. That is not even 10% of our number of private vehicles. Why? Because they have a good metro service, they have good bus services, they have other public transport means. And I'll give you an even better example. Let's go to Tokyo. Tokyo is roughly the same size as Bengaluru in landmass.
Right.
The greater Tokyo region is about 2000 square kilometers. Bengaluru is about 2000 square kilometers.
Right.
Bengaluru's population is 1.5 crores. But Tokyo's population is more than double. It's about 3.6 crores.
Yeah,
That's the population of Tokyo.
yeah, right.
And
So
do
the
you know
thing
how many
is,
vehicles they have, private vehicles? Only 30 lakhs.
yeah, so
Why?
maybe, yeah.
It has excellent rail-based mass transit. They have suburban, they have metro, they have buses, they have all kinds.
Right, I'll come back to
Nobody
you.
buys
Yeah.
a vehicle in Tokyo.
Yeah, so he says,
this is why planning is important.
so planning is
For the
important
last
is
3
what you say.
decades.
Yeah, let me come back to you. The other, to introduce Wasim Memon also. Mr. Memon, welcome to the show. Mr. Memon, if I recall right, isn't it true that, you were someone who was injured, due to a pothole? I mean, I recall speaking to you 2 years ago. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But
probably the person who had filed a PIL in the High Court of Karnataka, there's an order which says
please,
that.
Please tell the viewers about, because this is very important, that what your journey.
Order which says fill up potholes. The government order says make dividers, and after passing, the order was passed, nothing was done, and I fell into a pothole, and I was out of action for the last. When I met with an accident a few years back, for 6 months I was on bed. So that 20,000 crores, you can add up the hospital bill of 5 lakhs and my loss of salary for 5 lakhs also. So this figures are, I don't think so, goes anywhere. If you just see I'm telling you, the medical cost of the people who are injured, who suffer not only because of accidents and pain, back pains and all that, that only will cover more than that.
Right, and do you agree with what Sandeep said, that the MPC, that's the 70, he said, he's reminded all of us of the 74th Amendment.
I just want to tell you that Bangalore has grown very fast.
Yeah.
But I travel a lot. Hyderabad has also grown. But I'm telling you, that city has a plan. The roads are big. So I take my children there, 12-year-old twins. When I go to Hyderabad, they see a sea of change. The roads are big. The planning is excellent now. I read somewhere that they have made a bicycle track of 17 kilometers long, which has a solar panels.
Yeah. Okay.
So when Hyderabad can do, why not Bangalore?
Yeah, that's the question. And Katyayani, if you want to answer that, and also about, you know, BMLTA and MPC, there is always a tussle, and you know, if you it is very clear that Professor Sreehari was not just concentrating on cars, but he's also concentrating on time taken, you know, the travel in buses, etc. So I want to ask you, why is it that if Hyderabad can do it, Bengaluru, which this study that we are putting out and saying 20,000 crores per year, why is it that Bengaluru, which is supposed to be the Silicon Valley, supposed to be this IT hub, etc., why is it that subsequent governments, I think they've stopped caring completely? So what is the way out, Katyayani Chamaraj?
Yeah, I agree totally with what Sandeep has said, that the 74th Amendment needs to be implemented and MPC should be set up. And the what we need now is not ad hoc decisions that are being taken. You know, the process of decision making itself is being topsy-turvy kind of, because the state government and particular ministers in the state government seem to be ruling Bengaluru, and Bengaluru's status as a local self-government that is being totally denied, and we haven't had elections to do local planning, and the total application of 74th Amendment, which says the second tier of government should not be having a role in the administration or governance of the third tier of government, that is being totally abdicated. And we have a state level minister taking ad hoc decision. Now it's not just about Mr. Sreehari's report. There is talk about creating tunnel roads, you know, at the cost of 50,000 crore. So is that 50,000 crore going to solve this 20,000
right, so that's
crore
what I,
that
yeah,
people
yeah.
are losing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like penny wise pound foolish kind of a thing, that you know you are plugging holes as and when they come up. So I'm going to go back to Professor Sreehari to talk about this. Professor Sreehari, you have apparently presented this report to Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar, sir. Is that right?
Yes.
And considering that he keeps announcing brand Bengaluru, brand this, he says we will change the city.
Namesake, we can call anything better, namesake. It will never happen at all, because there is a will, there is a way. See, every successive, even somebody, I have also commented on the tunnel road. Tunnel road, Bangalore has grown radially.
Sir, I want to, sir, just a professor, just a minute. So, has the Deputy Chief Minister given you any assurance that he will study it and get back to?
He was in Delhi at that time. He was in Delhi at that time 3 days back.
All
He has
right.
come to Bangalore now, he has to open it now.
All right. So, I wish you all the luck. I wish you all the best, you know, because this is yet another beginning, and I hope you have an auspicious beginning, Professor. But I am asking you something. Bangalore has grown. Sandeep said it, Katyayani said it, and Basim Memon also said it. Now, because it has grown, there are lots of job opportunities. People come to this city to find jobs. You know, much like my mother has one constant whine. She lives in Bangalore. She says, oh, IT has spoilt my city. You know, everything is expensive, this, that, and the other. But the point is that if you have opportunities, people will come there. Tell me, Professor, how do you think that is one of the major reasons for this constant traffic snarls in Bengaluru?
No, actually, to tell you here very frankly, it is expected, it is known, it will be worsened much more. But nobody is bothered to build a cat. The reason because we have to know the history of Bangalore, how it has grown. It has grown radially, circumferentially, outwardly. So we need more ring road, intermediate ring road, yeah, and also SCRR, all these things, because it has grown like that. Whereas Mumbai and Chennai, they require clear and parallel. We need parallel and perpendicular roads. That's what. Because meeting the tunnel road will never solve, even 1% will never solve. Because they are developing into a corridor, not to the entire circumferential growth of Bangalore. We have to have a lot of radial routes. We have to develop those roads also. Then only the construction of tunnel roads will help. Otherwise, it will never help. The reason because accident cause will be a different entity altogether. It is only accidents may not happen always.
Okay, Professor, I want to stop you here, Professor. In this study, I'm sure, because you're an expert on traffic and transportation, what is the one or two things which stood out this time around, sir, which really shocked you? What was it?
Listen, madam, I want to attack on the solution also. Very simple solution. Bangalore, I cannot find even one road. Being a Bangalore in 70 years, I will not find even one road which is free from parking. Why road, constructing the road by spending crores of rupees is only for parking? Why can't they solve the parking issue? Every building, even though they have the parking slot, they park it outside, converting their parking garage and other things to different activities. Why the BBMP is allowing this? That is a very shocking also news it is. See, the other one, I am giving solution very easily for that. See, Bangalore, we have several parks. Park and parking. Park, we have several. Without spoiling even a grass road, without spoiling or without cutting even a one branch also, using the tunnel boring machine, we can go below the ground and develop 3 to 4 layers.
Right, Professor, I'll come back. Professor, because we have to take it very slow so that, you know, the viewers understand. As of now, what we've understood is, according to your report, there is a loss of 20,000 crores, ladies and gentlemen, annually, that people in Bengaluru. But my three guests today, that is Katyayani Chamraj, Wasim Memon and Sandeep Aniruddhan, feel that is just the tip of the iceberg. It's lot more that the Bangaloreans are losing. So something has to be done. What is that? Yes, politicians, like, you know, Professor said, where there is a will, there is a way. I do not know where the will is or where the way is, but today we see some hope. Maybe this report will be taken seriously. You know, Sandeep, when 11 flyovers were being made by the ex-chief minister, Baswaraj Bommai, I remember reading a report, and that is when I discovered you actually, where you said this is a very bad idea. Why are we constructing these 11 flyovers? In this report by Professor Sreehari, he says, yes, we have 60 odd flyovers, but all of them have been badly planned. Do you want to focus on that? Because everyone, you know, the thing is that in urban cities, the first two things they will say, oh, we have a flyover near our house, oh, we have a mall near our house. I think both are disasters, but you tell me, what is it about flyovers that Bangalore does not need these kind of flyovers?
Sudha, one thing we need to understand is planning has evolved across the world. In the West, they are bringing down flyovers, they're reducing road weights, and they're getting rid of roads. If you look at Singapore, their policy clearly states they are moving towards a zero car city, which means they don't want people to use private vehicles. They want people to move towards mass transit and use only metro and public transport. If you buy a car in Singapore, it will be about 3 to 4 times more expensive than you buy in Bangalore. They heavily tax it. And the moment you pull your car out in Singapore, you will start getting taxed.
Why are we, listen, the thing is, why are we, no, Sandeep, let's, if you can't, you know, someone, you know, I know what you're getting at, which is planning. But, you know, comparing ourselves with Singapore, I don't know where that's going to take us. Your voice is gone again.
I will compare it to Mumbai, okay? Will you be happy with that?
Yeah.
Mumbai has a population more than double Bangalore's population. You know how many vehicles they have? Only 50 lakhs. That's only less than half the vehicles Bangalore
But how do you
has.
stop people? How do you stop, Sandeep, how do you stop people from buying cars, pa? If I have 2 cars, everyone wants one. There is a new model every day.
Exactly what I'm trying to tell you. If you plan a city well and provide good mass transit with first mile and last mile connectivity, people will not buy vehicles.
I don't agree. I don't agree. It's no, I don't agree. Like Maruti 800, I mean, I'm naming that brand. When it came, it became symbol of middle class India. Cars are cars. I mean, they will not be caught taking metro. At least in New Delhi, they'll say, "Oh, we don't take metros." I mean, you know, like what Shashi Tharoor once said or allegedly said about cattle class. So I think there is class involved. There is. It's also about, you know, money.
Okay.
Money.
Sudha, may I come in? Sudha, go to Mumbai. In the suburban rail, which is the poor man's travel, you will find millionaires and billionaires.
I know that.
Mumbai,
but it's not happening in Bengaluru. It's not maybe happening in many other cities. So
Sudha,
therefore,
why is it not? Why are you not asking why it's not having in Bengaluru?
Well, I do not know.
has
It's
the
about choice.
No, you still haven't understood, Sudha. Stop for a moment and analyze Bangalore's public transport. We have 3,000 buses, and that figure has remained constant for the last decade. It should have increased 10 times. The population has increased so much. So, because public transport has not been focused upon, politicians keep focusing on roads because that is big ticket corruption. They get kickbacks immediately.
Right.
Instead of focusing on public transport systems which have to be planned and you have to have a vision. Singapore has a vision for 50 years. Their master plan.
I get that.
We don't
That's a
have
good
master
point.
plan.
You made a very good
Decades.
point. You made a very good point that that public transport has remained static, although the population has increased, and someone has to focus on that. They are only focusing on roads because for roads is equal to whatever percent sarkara. So I get that. Wasim Memon, tell me something. This corruption, this kind of planning may happen. There could be people like Professor, there could be other people also who sit down and spend time, but how many people actually follow that plan? Taking it through, it always gets subverted. I am asking you, just focus a bit on the corruption, the nexus between politicians and some engineers and workers in BBMP. This is now legendary that we hear. And now 20,000 crore loss, of course it pinches every Bangalorean, but like you said, who will pay for my pain?
See, there's no price to a pain that me and my family has gone through.
Yeah.
This 20,000 crores is very, very less because my kids were 6 years. I can still say that if I'm late even by 10 minutes, they get little hassle. So that you can't put price to a pain and a suffering that a family has gone through. As Sandeep said, Bangalore does not have a plan. Bangalore needs a reboot. I don't know whether it is possible. Bangalore needs a reboot, complete revamp. Relaying of roads, relaying of flyovers will not. Bangalore should come up with a plan like Delhi came up with NCR. Bangalore should invest in nearby suburbs to decongest. I've stayed in Delhi during that time when metro was constructed. I've seen snarls for 5 kilometers, but right now, Delhi, except for the pollution bit, it's a much better city. So Bangalore needs to work on the NCR model where they took Haryana, Faridabad and Gurgaon and Noida and Ghaziabad. That's the only way Bangalore can survive. Otherwise, I'm telling you guys, Bangalore will collapse.
Okay. Katyani Chamraj, I want to come to you now, and we've heard lots of different viewpoints, that is there. But one thing is very clear that, like Chandigarh is a planned city, Delhi is a planned city. There are many cities in our country which are not planned. Now, this 20,000 crores, and I am going back to it because my focus is on this report. It revolves around Professor M N Sreehari's report. You people say it's much more than that. But the point is that are there any easy solutions, or like Wasim Memon, there has to be a complete overhaul for Bangalore to improve, the traffic to improve?
Well, you said a little earlier, you said that the aspiration level of Bangaloreans is to own a car.
Yes.
Now we have to disincentivize that. That is the only way. Why congestion charge is not being introduced? Why you are not making it costlier for a person to buy a car? Why you are not putting parking fees? So many roads are there where parking is free. And why are you allowing people to buy second car, third car when they don't have a parking place also for it? Why don't you put some restrictions on the number of cars you are registering? That is there very much in Singapore, where every space in a arterial road is being auctioned, and only if you pay for it you can use that road. So if to stop this aspiration to own a car, you have to make it costlier and costlier for them to own a car, and the monetary disincentive is not there. That is the reason why people are easily buying cars. Right. And you have to put the emphasis on producing more buses also, and the objective of any plan. Now, Mr. Sreehari is saying you need radial roads, you need ring roads. You can't have that as well as incentivize public transport.
Right.
This or that. You can't do both, because building all those roads. Now look at the controversy that is going on about the peripheral ring road. How are you going to displace thousands of farmers and not give them even the compensation that they deserve.
Right,
You have kept
right.
them
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
their land in abeyance for 18 years or
Right.
so, and you want to give them compensation. So
Fine,
there is
fine.
a cost involved in displacing people also for your
Right.
roads.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole focus should be to disincentivize cars, disincentivize these ring roads and whatever, and focus very much only on incentivizing
Right.
public transport.
Professor, do you agree with what Katyayani says? That disincentivize, cars. I mean, do that. Do you agree, sir? Because that's a very major statement to make.
No, actually, we have to reduce the individual transportation, put for more fast transportation in Bangalore. That is the only solution. We have to give more and more emphasis for the metro rail and connectivities also. Metro is going very fast in construction as well. So the government have already advised that the association
Sir, there is some disturbance around you, sir. Is there a phone or some? I am requesting you, Professor Saab, please, because I can't hear you very well because there seems to be some parallel noise. But are you saying that the metro is a good solution, Professor? Sir?
Generally, metro is the only solution for a city like Bangalore. The reason because the reason why we are looking at that angle will be it is a mass transportation, and in fact we have buses. Somebody has given a wrong figure. We have Bangalore around 6,000 buses.
Right.
So
Professor, tell me, Professor, you also said that these 60 odd flyovers are no use. I mean, you didn't say no use, but you said yes, they are there, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. Will you tell the viewers, what do you do with badly constructed flyovers? It's not like you can get rid of them, sir.
The first one is the approach to flyover is wrong. Even if you go to City Market flyover, the end will be very, very that is itself creating congestion. The outlet of the flyover, the exit of the flyover, itself creating congestion. So the unfortunate flyover in Bangalore which has come, many states with the village patients. Unfortunately, hello. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Yeah. I can hear you, Professor.
Then that is secondly, we should have slip road on either side. Slip roads. Some places slip road is not at all available. That too, it is a very, very inadequate as per the Indian Road Congress. Because one of the experts also specially qualified from IIT on transport plans. These are very important for
Sir, also I am getting messages on my phone. They are asking, lot of viewers are asking, sir, is there a solution? Do you think this government will pay heed to the report? Do you think this government will try and overturn what the earlier government was accused of? Corruption, commission, and not doing anything.
Being the state advisor for the government, I cannot accept it so. I cannot accept it, take it also, because every politician, they want to do whatever they want it for their ends to meet. As an expert in the traffic engineering and traffic management, I cannot, no politicians till today, they are not qualified basically what to think and what to do, what to give also. Obviously, any government comes, they are not interested. They are interested in what is they get in return.
Wow,
so that's not the problem.
Professor, you really have spoken your heart out. I must say, on this show, the South Indian, look at it. He does the report, but he does not mince words. He says, politicians will be there only. That politician will see what is in it for me. So, Sandeep, tell me, what does a Bangalorean do? What do you do? What does Wasim Saab do? What does Katyayani do? If this is the attitude.
Sudha, Bengaluru's loss is that the 74th Amendment was legislated in 1992. It's 3 decades. And all this growth of Bengaluru, the IT wave and all that happened after the 90s. So, if we had a metropolitan planning committee then and if we had proper master planning and comprehensive development plans, Bengaluru would have grown up as a planned city, would have had experts and they would have advised the city to build proper based on data, they would have built proper mass rapid transport and we would not have had this mess. Today, the loss is because we did not follow the constitution. And just like we punish criminals when they commit offenses, when you fine or imprison people who commit traffic offences or other offences, when you have state governments which do not follow the constitution, I think we should start punishing the chief ministers
Well,
who
that
do not follow the 74th
yeah, yeah.
Amendment.
So
We
Wasim
should
is the
actually
best.
take
Yeah,
them to court.
no, Wasim is the best person. Wasim, what about punishment? I mean, ये कभी मुमकिन है क्या?
Not in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, look at that. Look at
So
that.
our
Yeah.
state, the government guys have impunity. So I don't want to comment more on it. The judiciary is very, 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 very lenient. Try go and file an FIR against the commissioner of a chief engineer.
Right. So I'm very
I will bet
happy.
if they take your copy. Forget about FIR. They will not even take a complaint.
Oh my God. So there you have it. You know, you've heard, I mean, I think Professor Sreehari was very, very out there, upfront. You know, he said, this is the report, this is the reality. Now, all my other guests can say whether it's 20,000 or 80,000, whatever. But the point is, there is a loss that has to be borne annually by every Bangalorean. I mean, I really admire, all of them spoke their heart out. Katyayani, you know, I am giving you the last word here. Katyayani, you know, no city can survive on hopelessness. Every city, you know, it's an integral part of our lives, of modern civilization, as it were. Do you think, can there be a utopian solution where you say that any kind of a decision which has to be taken about urban planning in Bengaluru, it should not have any kind of governmental functionary involved in it? Would you agree? Because a lot of people feel it's corruption, it's ennui, it's like delaying, it's vacillation. What do you think? Should it be?
No. In a democratic country, you cannot say the elected representatives cannot have a role in the decision making. They are there to make the decisions, but they have to follow the proper process for decision making, not ad hoc, willful, self-willed decisions. You know, there is a process. When you have a project proposal, it has to go through the proper procedure of being, announced to the affected public, get their comments, and whether, and you have to support your proposal with the proper cost benefit analysis, and also tell us what are the alternatives which may be cheaper, which may be more cost effective. No, without doing those procedural things, simply announcing certain projects without any support of data, without support of what is the environmental and social impact, like the peripheral ring road that's suffering, and the farmers are protesting. So because it has been done without taking into consideration the cost of displacing all those people, you know, unless you put before the public, these are the costs and benefits. And if you had chosen, instead of making a ring road, if you had made a circular railway, what would the cost benefit have been? You would have transported thousands more people on that road.
And
So those are the procedures they have to follow. And your overall vision, I'll just end with this, your overall vision for the city has to be, how do I bring down this vehicle to population ratio? Like Sandeep already mentioned, what is the ratio in Tokyo? Your overall goal has to be that for every 1.5 crore people that you have, you are going to take up projects which will ensure that your vehicle population comes down to one vehicle for 5 people.
So I've completely run out of time, and let me thank all of you. I'm sorry I had to interject today on the South Indian. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much, all my guests. Professor Sreehari, it was wonderful having you. Katyayani Chamaraj, you of course, Wasim Memon, and Sandeep Aniruddhan. So the South Indian, a show which will always on weekdays at 5 bring you issues which are concerning the south of India. Now we go back to where some of the decisions are making, or rather discussed, the Lok Sabha. Let's cut live.
In handling the violent situation in Manipur demonstrated by both the central government and the state government. So what better evidence is needed to prove the total inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the government at the center and the union government when we discuss about the Manipur situation and the lack of their commitment in handling the extremely volatile situation in a small state like Manipur. If the government is not able to handle the situation, not able to restore the peace, not able